Welcome to the Zions Bank Economic Update. My name is Joseph Mayans, and joining me is Robert Spendlove to discuss the current economic conditions. Robert, we've seen a lot of headlines recently talking about how the trade dispute could impact the economy. But by and large, the U.S. economy is performing very well. What's some of the data that we're seeing out there that supports that?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's been a lot of talk of the trade dispute and possible tariffs, not only with China, but also with Canada and many other countries. And we certainly have seen negative impacts in sectors of the economy, areas like export industries, or specifically the agricultural sector, where we're seeing some weakness and some struggling. However, it hasn't translated into the overall economy yet. In fact, some of the latest data that we've seen has shown quite a bit of strength. For instance, the latest jobs report came in at 157,000 jobs created, a really good number. It's now the 94th consecutive month of job growth in our country, the longest on record. We also saw the unemployment rate drop back down to 3.9%, a really strong number. And then gross domestic product, probably the broadest measure of our overall economic health, came in at 4.1%. Again, the strongest that we've seen in several years. We've even seen that translating into the stock market, where the S&P 500 this week came in at a new all-time high. Now, as the discussions of tariffs and trade continues, we're starting to see some brighter signs. We're starting to see some more negotiation. And if that continues to improve, we could see more economic strength in the next few months.
And so I know you say, overall in the economy where it's pretty healthy, but I think a lot of people, they forget kind of to look locally and regionally. And here in Utah and Intermountain West, we've been performing very well, a lot of times better than the nation as a whole. Can you kind of walk us through what we're seeing here?
Yeah, the Intermountain West is doing very well. Many of the states in our region are among the top in the country. When we look at job growth, an indicator of economic strength, we see that in July of this year, 4 of the 5 top fastest growing states were in the West. For instance, Utah came in first in the country at 3.5%. Idaho came in at number 2 in the country at 3.4%. And we're seeing that strength relating in a number of ways. Population growth also. Many of the western states are among the highest in the country. In this case, Idaho is the fastest growing state in the country, but we also see Nevada and Utah seeing a lot of strength. One of the really interesting stories that we've seen is Wyoming, where just a couple years ago, Wyoming had the lowest or the worst employment growth in the country. And as of this month, Wyoming has surged to now they're the 11th fastest growing job market in the country. So we've really seen the strength picking up throughout the Intermountain West.
And so you've been seeing a lot of that strength, but personally, it's not without side effects. Like I'm personally looking for a house, but home prices here seem to just keep going up. What are some of the issues that are going on we're seeing with such a strong economy?
Yeah, this is exactly what we're seeing throughout the Intermountain West, which is we've got this strong employment growth that we talked about, strong population growth. That's creating a lot of demand for housing, but we're just not creating enough supply to keep up with that demand. And as a result, we're seeing housing price appreciation accelerating throughout the West. In some places, it's more than 10% annual growth in housing prices. And so the problem with that is great if you own a home. It's great if you're selling a home. But if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're a renter, those home price appreciation and that rental price appreciation is really becoming a struggle. And especially when we're seeing that while we're seeing increases in wages, that wage growth is not keeping up with housing price appreciation. And that's also translating into higher overall inflation, which we're seeing among the highest inflation rates that we've seen in many years, some even say in all time. So policymakers have to be watching this very closely. We've got to have a concerted effort to help those in need and help those that can't afford to get housing in a very fast-moving and fast-growing market.
Right. Well, Robert, thank you very much for your insights. It's going to be interesting to see how these trends developed over the next couple of years.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you for joining us for this economic update. For more information and analysis, please visit zionsbank.com/economy.